What are your options when it comes to making money in your online business? How can you monetize? I'm going to break down all of your options in this episode of the Teacher Biz podcast. And because it's my podcast, after all, I'm also going to give you my opinions on each of these methods. And I'm going to rank them for you from worst to best. Here we go. Okay, so the way I see it, there are five main ways to monetize. And inside of each of these on this list, you can break it down into subsets and I'll explain your options to you. But there's five main ways to monetize. Any online content, anything that you're putting out online that should be thought of by you as a business and not just online content. Okay, so I think I think let me give these to you in order from the worst options to the best option. I'll put them in that order so we can start with the worst. And just know that, maybe in the long run, you might end up doing all of these things to monetize in your business, and that's okay. But if you could start with the best, you're going to end up so much better off. Okay. The worst way that I think that you can monetize an online business is through ad revenue. I know this from experience because with my very own very first blog that I ever created online, which was my first business, even though I didn't know that at the time, I was dead set on monetizing with ad revenue. That's all I wanted to do. I thought that once I qualified for Mediavine, I would just be rolling in dough, and boy, was I wrong. Okay, so learn from my mistakes and don't make that your end mission in your business. If you would like to hear more about my experience with that first blog, I do have a whole podcast episode about that. And that's episode 28, Lessons Learned from a Failed Business. Okay, so let me just explain that ad revenue is different than running ads for your business. I know both of these have the word ads in there, so it might be a little tricky. Ad revenue is when you are creating content like a blog post, a podcast, a YouTube show, and you're running ads on your content. So if it's a blog post, you have ads popping up on your website throughout your post. If it's a podcast, you have an ad playing in the beginning, middle, and end of your show. Don't those sound so abrupt? I can't stand when I'm listening to a great show and then all of a sudden there's these ads that just like pop in the middle of an interview. I can't stand that. Um, and then on YouTube, which, of all of these content sources, if you're stuck on monetizing, YouTube monetization is actually probably the highest paying, but still not ideal. There's those ads that you have to watch in the beginning and throughout the video and then at the end sometimes too. Okay. All of that is ad revenue and it does not pay very well. Oh my goodness. So with my first blog, finally qualified for Mediavine. And Mediavine is one of the very best, or at least it was at the time, but I'm sure it still is, one of the very best ad networks for a website. And so to qualify, you need a certain amount of page views per month, which means you're working very hard to get your traffic up. It takes a lot of time and effort. You're basically pumping out content. So much work goes into that. And then you get so then you can qualify for an ad network. They put ads on your blog, your website, and you get a certain amount of revenue from that based on how many people come to your blog. So you need to or your website. You need to keep having so many people come. You need to keep your traffic up. It takes a lot of work to keep your traffic really high. And that's what goes into the ad revenue. So when this was happening to me, I just felt like I was pumping out content and I was pinning it on Pinterest like crazy, just trying to get the traffic to be high so I could make some money from that ad revenue because you need very high traffic to see really any kind of revenue with income. Okay, so in my highest paying month that I had Mediavine, I don't remember the traffic number for you, but I know that the revenue amount was $1,200. That was the highest ever. Most of the time, it was around $300 a month or less. And I was working really hard to get my traffic up. I was pouring hours into that. So maybe $1,200 a month for ad revenue sounds like a decent income to you, but it shouldn't be because that's not enough money for the work that I was putting in. And that was only on my very best month. Now, yes, some people make a tremendous amount of money through ad revenue, but those people have millions of visitors to their website every month. Some have that many every day. And it's not easy to have that much traffic. So I don't recommend ad revenue unless you find yourself in a place where your website already has a lot of traffic and you happen to qualify. But don't pour all your effort into just trying to qualify to make ad revenue. You could be spending your time on things that would make you much more money than that. And the thing about relying on ad revenue to make money in your business is that you are at the mercy of algorithm updates from any channel that you are getting your traffic from. And for years, Google, SEO, search engines were the most reliable place to get traffic. But even still, Google has changed their algorithm. And I don't know if you've Googled anything recently, but when you do now, you just get like the AI response to your question popping up. People don't even have to click through to a website anymore. And so all of my blogger friends that I know who were reliant on ad revenue have seen that really tank in the past year or so because of all these algorithm updates. You don't want the money that you're making in your business to rely on someone else's algorithm. That's not good business, my friend. So I want to be the one to tell that to you. Just don't build your business on someone else's land. And even if you feel like it's your own content, how you're bringing people to your content is just at the mercy of someone else's business. You don't want that. Okay. So I think ad revenue is actually the worst way that you can monetize. Second to that is sponsorships. So, sponsorships are basically what you would think of when you think of an influencer. It's when you're promoting a brand or product to your audience in exchange for a set amount of money. So, when you're scrolling on Instagram and you see people holding up a product and talking about it, generally like mid-level famous people, maybe someone who is on a reality show. A lot of the people who have been on The Bachelor are now Instagram influencers, but there's so many influencers. Um, and they're just being paid by brands to promote a product that they likely don't even use. Um, and so I have actually back in my blog days, I did a little bit of sponsorships. I worked with a few brands. One of one of them that I did a big project with had reached out to me, and I that business is actually no longer in business because this blog was a long time ago. We're talking like 2018, I think I did this sponsored project. They had reached out to me. They asked me what my price was for doing a sponsored project. And it was like a blog post and several social media posts, like an unboxing video, something like that. Now, I had not done many sponsorships at that time. So the number that I told them, I will share with you, even though it's a little embarrassing, but it's just us here, right? Was $300. I was making such little money in my business at that point that I thought, okay, I'll do this for $300. And if I had not been the first one to say a number, I'm betting their number was much higher than $300 for all of the work that I put into that. Um, but anyway, that was my experience. Now, maybe your number's higher. I would hope that it is if you're putting a lot of work into it. But you just can't rely on sponsorships as a source of income for your business. First of all, it doesn't feel good, especially if you're promoting something that you don't really use, that you're not like actually a fan of this brand in real life. That doesn't feel good for your whole business just to be holding up products and talking about them. But aside from my feelings on that, Sponsorships can go away at any time. That business can just decide that they don't have a budget for sponsors, for influencers anymore. They can cut that out of their budget, and then you're left without an income. What I want you to do is build a business that is solid on your own ground, that you control, so that when someone else makes an update or changes their mind or has a new business plan in the future, it's not going to affect you because your income doesn't rely on that. I have business friends who had built their business primarily on sponsorships. They had a podcast and a video show, and it was built primarily on sponsorships. And their sponsorships kind of dried up earlier this year because businesses are feeling a little bit of a tight squeeze and had to cut that out. And so they lost most of their business income because all of their sponsorships were gone. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be able to go full force ahead no matter what anyone else does in their business. So there are two ways to work with sponsors. You can work with an individual brand, like you communicate with them directly, or you can work through a sponsorship influencer network. Either way, I don't think it's worth your time. I will tell you that one of the other sponsorship projects that I did back in my Happy Humble Home blog days was with a brand that I loved. It was with Jervis and George. They made these really cute baby food jars. I used to make my own baby food. But they made these jars that I really liked for baby food. So I reached out to them and they were like, we've never had a sponsor before. They were so happy to work with me. And in that way, it can feel good. And here's the thing about that. Maybe at some point in your business, there is a brand that you love telling people about, and you would like to do a sponsored project with them. That's okay. You can do that. You can reach out and have like a fun little thing that you get to do and make a little bit of extra money with. But don't let that be the bread and butter of your business. Okay? Deal? All right. So now we get to the middle of the road way to monetize, and that is affiliate marketing. Now, affiliate marketing is not a bad way to monetize at all. Let me tell you what it is. Affiliate marketing is when you share a product, preferably one that you use, with your audience. And when someone purchases through your link, through your special coupon code or something, you get a commission on that sale. It's basically commission-based sales. And the percentage that you would receive varies. I like to work with affiliate partners that offer about 40%, sometimes 50%. 50 is high, 40 is normal, 30 is okay. And I definitely would never do anything under 30 myself. But you can do affiliate marketing with brands that you already talk about and make a commission on that sale. That's a totally fine thing to do. But here's the thing. Don't build your whole business on affiliating for someone else's business, because what if they close their business? What if they close their affiliate partnerships? There's a course, there's a program that I love that I've used myself and that I've affiliated for, that I've shared about with this teacher biz community before. And I don't know if I want to call out exactly what it is, but maybe you could guess if you've been here for a while. And I had a whole month of my business that I was focused on sharing this program that I loved. And I received a 50% commission in exchange. And this year, that business is no longer having affiliate partners for their launch. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I actually feel perfectly fine about that. It kind of frees me up to do other things in my business and not juggle too many things this year. So I feel okay with it. But what if I had built my whole business on that affiliate launch and now I didn't have it anymore? Do you see what I'm saying? And I know there were definitely affiliate partners who got that email who had a much bigger reaction than I did because they were really planning to affiliate for that program this year. I can be flexible because I have other ways to monetize, and my whole business isn't based on affiliating for someone else's business. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense to affiliate for a program, a product that you use because you're talking about it anyway. So, for example, in on the teacher biz side of my business, I talk about the software and platforms that I use in my business all the time. For example, I talk about Kit, formerly ConvertKit, which is my email service provider, all the time. Anytime I talk about email, because I love them. I've tried other email service providers that I did not love. Now I love Kit, even though I don't love that they changed their name to Kit from ConvertKit, but I'll forgive them for that. I love them and I talk about them and I want you to use them too. And so when I share about them, I also share my affiliate link, which is teacherbiz.com/kit, because why would I not? Why would I not do that? You get a discount for using my link. I'm going to talk to you about them anyway, so I might as well share my link. And then I've, made a few $1,000s on sharing it with everyone I've talked to about it over the years. So that's just good business, I think. But I'm not going to build my whole business on affiliating for them. Another one is lead pages. I talk about lead pages all the time. Whenever I talk about selling your product on your own website and making a simple sales page to sell your product from, I share that I use lead pages for that, along with my link, which is teacherbiz.com/lead pages, because that just makes sense for me to share that with you and possibly make a commission if you were to sign up with them. ThriveCart is another one. I love ThriveCart. I use them for my checkouts, converts much higher for me than any previous checkout provider I've used. And so it just makes sense when I tell you about ThriveCart to share my affiliate link, teacherbiz.com/ThriveCart. Why would I not share that with you? So yes, if you're talking about products anyway, sign up to be an affiliate for them, share your link when you talk about them. I'm all for that. Just don't make it your whole business, okay? Now we're getting to the good ways to monetize. And second from the top, we have one-to-one services. So one-to-one services is when someone pays you for your specific one-to-one time, and you are either doing work for them in their business or you're meeting with them to coach them individually. It can be a variety of things. Some people, oh my gosh, like Maria Golden on my team, who is amazing. She does the tech calls in my business for my students. She offers one-to-one services where she helps people with their business tech individually. Doesn't that sound amazing? So those are one-to-one services that she offers in her business. I've never really done one-to-one. I've maybe a few times done one-to-one coaching, but usually as a bonus for something. And I think it's a decent way to monetize because I think you can make a lot of money from one-to-one services because your individual time and attention is so valuable that you could really charge high ticket for this. But here's the thing. Here's the only reason why this is the best way to monetize your business, and that is because you are one human and you have a limited amount of time, as we all do. You also have a limited amount of bandwidth. So even if you have 5 hours to work on your business today, I would never say 8, 5 hours to work in your business today. You probably can't take 5 one-to-one calls back to back unless you're some kind of machine. I wouldn't be able to do that. So so it just isn't scalable. And it definitely is not passive income because you need to show up to do those one-to-one services. Um, but, if you're just getting started in your business and you need some kind of like cash infusion to pay for all the software that you need in your business, to pay for maybe a business coaching program that you really want to take, something like that, and you just need a little cash infusion. I think one-to-one services is okay to offer in the beginning because it's also a great way to get to know your people on a deeper level, to really hear their pain points in their words. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just wouldn't make that your long-term business plan. Okay. And now we have made it to the best way to monetize your online business. Do you know what it is? I hope you do. If you've been around here a while, you've probably heard me talk about this. The best way to monetize is through your own products. And I get it. I get that it feels scary to create your own product. I get that the imposter syndrome comes up and it tells you unwittingly, like, who is going to purchase a product that you created? That's what your brain is telling you. I get that. Let's push through that because products are the actual best way to monetize your business for so many reasons. One, you create a product one time, a digital product. Now, this can be a printable product like a collection of learning games, a workbook, a journal, something like that. Or it can be a video workshop, if this was not for the podcast, this episode is actually pretty good. So I could take this episode, the video that comes along with it. By the way, I'm recording in Zoom, so there's a video along with the audio. But I could take the video from this and sell that as a short workshop, right? I could create a mini course where I'm talking about one specific topic, record my videos in Zoom, and make a series of 5 short videos. That could be a product. I could even do an audio workshop as a product, which would literally be like the audio you're listening to right now, except very actionable, specific, short, targeted. That could be a product. But I create it one time and it takes me, maybe one day for some kind of workshop. Maybe it takes me 2 weeks if it's a principal product, maybe longer if I've never designed anything before. Let's say it takes you a month, like very extreme longest it should take you to create your first product. Maybe it takes you a month. And then you sell that product for $27, $19, $37, whatever it is. You sell it over and over and over again for 3 years. So you put the initial time investment in to create the product, but then you just get to go on and sell that product forever. For example, my ultimate alphabet learning kit on the kindergarten ready side of my business. I first created it in 2020. It took me 2 weeks. I then redesigned it. January 2022, we put out the redesigned version. My Canvas skills had improved. I was better at designing things. I had the bandwidth to make it a little better. And so I did based on the feedback of my people. So let's say, 4 weeks altogether, I put into creating that massive product. I have now sold that product more than 13,000 times. I mean, mic drop. I think that right there explains to you why products are the very best way to monetize. But in addition to that, you get to keep all of the money from the sale. You're not keeping 40% commission on selling it. You're keeping all of it except for a very small payment processing fee, which is like $1. I don't know the actual number for you, but it's a very small percent that I never feel even coming out of my Stripe or my PayPal. I think it's like $1. You get to keep all the money. You get to control the customer experience. You get to add maybe an order bump or an upsell or both onto that product. And if your digital product is a membership, which I think is the very best digital product you could have, then you get that recurring revenue coming in every single month to keep your business stable. Products are the best way to monetize. They are the most stable way to monetize. They are the way that you control the most how your business is making money. And if Google changes their algorithm, or Pinterest stops being a thing, or Instagram sells to TikTok and moves to China and we can't access it again, or TikTok actually shuts down if you're using that, I don't use it so much, nothing really affects you. You can pivot. You can sell your product somewhere else because you own your product, you own your customer list, and you're not reliant on someone else's business. Okay? Digital products are the best way to monetize. And so now that you know all of these things, if you're just starting in your business and figuring out how to monetize, start with the best thing. Start with the best things. Start with digital products. That will be the very best way for you to monetize. I want you to think about what product you can create, and I want you to focus in on that strategy because it really is the best one that you could choose. If this has been helpful to you, I want you to share this episode with a friend who needs to hear this too, so that you can both go all in on the digital product strategy. If you have a friend who's putting her eggs in the ad revenue or sponsorship basket, help her out and share this episode with her. Would you do that? And come on over to my Instagram at TeacherBiz. I've been posting a lot over there, and I would love for you to glean any wisdom that I can share on that platform as well. Would you leave a comment on whatever post you find and let me know that you found me through the podcast? All right. Until next time, I'm cheering for you.